I just bought this crashed BMW E91 and we will rebuild it in 24 hours. A friend of mine found this BMW abandoned. So for fun, I sent a message to the owner, which then led to us buying the car. The car got crashed, but the owner was planning to fix it. However, when she got my message, she changed her mind and agreed to sell it. At first glance, it doesn't look like a big job. New front end, slap it together, and good to go. But you guys know that it's never this easy. And there's one big problem that stops this build from being easy. That is, the clutch is gone. It wasn't gone when we bought the car, but we did have some fun with it the same day, and now it's gone. First drive in 1 year. What was that? Scheiße.
Look up there.
No movement. Even though this car had been standing for a long time, after we connected the cables up, it fired right up. Yep, no lights, nothing. Massive crack in the windshield, that is super annoying. Crazy thing, small CIC iDrive. That's actually the first time I ever see a small screen CIC iDrive. I think that's what it's called. Like what? I didn't know these things even existed. So the tires are low on air. Finally time to put this car inside. This car smells awful in the inside. However, the engine runs pretty damn good. However, the clutch feels weird. So you put it in, release it, release it, and then it barely starts moving. You can see it's slipping like crazy. Like look, I'm gonna hold the brake down. So I got a bunch of random tires as well. Not the best interior, a bit moldy, but the only good thing is the iDrive, I guess. If you're wondering how much I paid for the car, it's 8,000 crowns, this many euros. Pretty decent price because this is a 2010 model. It's actually on the end of 2010, so it's almost 2011 I think. So not bad year-wise. Ugh, and the sound from the front suspension. Top mount bearings maybe? Hello? Girdi? By the way, the side skirt on this side is also different. So on the other side it's M Sport, on this side it's not. I think, I have no idea why, because the front bumper is not M Sport. This is my first time under the car. I guess it looks decent. Everything good here, the engine ground looking crusty, pretty dry, and a hole in the exhaust in the back, so this will need to fix. And that was a spider. Now, do you guys think we can fix this car in 24 hours? I don't know. I think we can. So right now it is November 14th, 13:33. So we have 24 hours to fix this beast. Without even knowing anything, I did pick up a second-hand clutch with the flywheel. The flywheel is not making any sound, but I just picked it up because I was in Lithuania. So when we got the car, the clutch was all right. It did feel weird from the beginning, the pedal, like soft and then harder. It was engaging fine. And then we drove it back here, it was still okay. Then we decided to do some wheel spinning action. And then after a few runs, the clutch just became worse and worse. So it went like, so it didn't just happen like this. So I'm pretty sure that the clutch was very worn. First we need to fix the mechanical thing, which is the clutch, and then we can focus on the looks. First thing to remove is the exhaust. let's remove the clutch cylinder. Okay, now I want to remove the shifter linkage. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's the DPF bracket. Now I will remove the gearbox mount, I think. Then there's one more sensor on the top of the gearbox, which is kinda annoying to remove because it always breaks and it's seized. And yes, I think that maybe is for the start-stop function, something like that. What else do we have up here? I think I will also release the starter so I can move it to the side a bit. It's gonna be easier to, well, to drop the gearbox, no problem, but to put it back after. I'm not gonna remove it. I'm just gonna adjust moving the starter to the side. Now the housing bolts. Okay, now there's one bolt holding the gearbox in. I am a complete freak of nature, so I am dropping this gearbox alone. Take a strap, put it on the jack. Okay, now it's tight, and we remove the last bolt. That's it. Push the... Okay. Drop the jack down a bit. Forget to unplug anything? Nope. The center point is a bit off. And then we drive it out. It does immediately smell like a burned clutch. Hello? Why is it fused? Okay. From what I feel, this flywheel is actually good. And then this here is the clutch plate. Disc, I mean. Yeah, it's completely gone. You can see these grooves here. They're supposed to be grooves and not original BMW. Okay. This is the second-hand clutch that I got. So you can see that the clutch that was in the car says BMW, so it's original. And this one that I picked up is not original. It's from Look, L-U-K. You can see it's also a lot thicker. So this clutch is what they call a SAC, self-aligning clutch. And every time you remove this, you need to reset it actually. So when you reinstall it, it self-aligns. When the clutch is new, it's already reset. So the springs are sitting all the way compressed. So every time you reuse a used clutch, you have to reset this manually. New clutches come from the factory already reset and ready for install. The way you do this, you have to support something under the outer casing on these corners, just how a clutch sits, and then you need to press down this one in the middle. So you can do this in many different ways. You can do this with a hydraulic press, you can do this with a normal jack and push it under the car, many ways. But I watched a YouTube video and a guy used a wooden pallet and a bearing press toolkit, and I have a similar toolkit like that for bearings, and we will use this, but we will not use a pallet, we will use a rim. Covered it up, took out the middle cap, and we put it on the wood. The important thing is, so we don't support the inside surface, only the outer, this casing. I will use this adapter here on top, and that's how we will compress it. And and then you tighten it just until you feel resistance. And it doesn't want to move anymore. Then you need some kind of screwdriver and you need to somehow push. Now, so you have to use 2 screwdrivers because all 3 springs, they do move together. They don't work independently. Now you can see it's compressed as much as possible. That's how it's supposed to be. While it's still compressed, you can release the bolt. There you go. Now you see everything is loose and springs are compressed like on a new clutch. So after inspecting it for a while, I came up to the conclusion that I will reuse the same flywheel that is on the car here. The reason is because they are pretty similar state. They do look good. A dual mass flywheel, it consists of 2 components. In between these, it has these bushings that get worn out over time, and that's what makes the sound if a flywheel goes bad. The way you check technically if a flywheel is bad, you go all the way to one side and then you try to push the outer part against the side. You push it and there's supposed to be resistance back. Now it's all the way at the edge. If I try to turn it, you can see it turns, but it's hard and it jumps back into its place right after. So my conclusion is that it's good. And well, the car didn't have any noises from the clutch department. Then the clutch plate. And then just put the screws in to hold it. Now you would need a special tool to line up the clutch plate with the whole clutch itself, which I don't have. So I just do it manually. Yep, now that is as center as possible technically. You can see it's as in the middle as possible, doing it from your eye. And I tighten down all these bolts around. Now I wish I would have ordered a brand new bearing as well, but I forgot, but it does feel fine. So we'll just need to stay like that. Now I did put the gearbox more center this time. Seems that it's holding. That was probably easier than I expected. Now the rest of the housing bolts. That's all the housing bolts. Put the clutch slave cylinder before I hit it with something because it's in the way always. Or no, actually I'm gonna put the cables back where they're supposed to be. Now I can put the clutch cylinder. Okay, so now the gearbox mount. That is in. Now I'm gonna start it and see if the clutch feels fine. I mean, the clutch feels great. I did mark the location of the middle bearing. So now the prop shaft is in and we can actually see how the clutch is holding up. So if you put it... Oh yes! Now it immediately stalls even in first gear. In fourth? Yeah! In sixth gear. Yes! This wheel is like so stuck, something has been spilled inside here. So many things, but it's mostly for the lights and also brake pads. I'm not sure if the sensors are broken or are the pads actually bad, or do we actually just need to reset it, I don't know yet. So now the exhaust, massive hole here that's rusted through. You can see that this piece here has been re-welded at some point. I will check if the rest of the metal is okay, I will just weld up this hole. If not, I need to replace the whole thing. I will also drain the oil. The filter, dark but very clean. Yeah, that's the spring. So we need to swap out the spring real quick and the pads We'll probably need to change the discs as well because they have a little lip. But for now, we'll only do the pads. First, undo the top. Now I will undo the shock in the other side as well, just so this way bar link falls down a bit more. Don't do that if the spring is not broken. What the heck? Look at that. Here we have a new spring, so that sits like this. Then this washer, then the bearing. I did clean it up as best as I could and greased it up. Now I'll go and do the other side off camera before we put the springs back. So now I already finished the other side. I also swapped out the brake pads because they were shot. The back ones are still okay, a lot of meat left. Now let's put in the sway bar link. Spring it up. Let's compress. Yeah, look at that. What? That is on live support. Holy cow. Damn. Little grease never hurt nobody. Yeah, beautiful. Clean up the guide pins. Then the caliper little bracket. Now I'm reinstalling the drain bolt. So now the oil filter, then the new filter. And now 5.2 liters of 5W30. I mean, yeah, no more sounds from the suspension, because when you was turning the steering wheel it was super loud and crazy sound. But not anymore. So mechanically, this car is good, and we are already past the 24-hour mark. So we failed. It's already 15th November, 17 o'clock. Around 25 hours now. You're probably wondering, what with this? We need to strip everything down. That's what it is. Right now I just want to vacuum up. There's a bunch of leaves. Let's pull the hood off. Before we disassemble the front end and build it up again, we need to replace the front windshield. I have almost all the parts I need right here, so I think we will start to replace the windshield right now. The crack is probably not because of the crash, but from before. And because of it, it's not gonna pass inspection. Wow, it's not actually seized. It's not seized as well. I don't have another weather stripping, so I will try to save this one. Seems like it should be possible. Now I have this toolkit here for window removal. It consists of a knife that is like this, cut out the window out. And then there's also this kit here with the cable. Do it around the seal. hot. Ай, блядь, moving now. Не ходу.
И поехали! Опа!
Opa! This one, once you twist it, and it comes off. Oh, this is so satisfying. Now I'm just removing the old. And now I will use some brake cleaner and degrease the surface. There is this little thing, this is like primer, because at some spots when you are removing the window, you do hit the body, a scratch or something like that. You're not gonna see it, but the problem is that it is gonna rust if it gets any water in the future. So that's the new / used window. No cracks, good condition. This is actually not the original window that I ordered. I actually had ordered another window. I bought the original window in Lithuania, but when I got it, under shipping, it got cracked. But I spoke to the transport company and they brought me another one for free. This is super satisfying. Holding knot will fall off.
Ай, блядь. How big cab you have?
Хуй знает.
I'm almost losing my project. Well, I can't put the tag, yeah?
Ah. Parking sensor also. Bruh! I thought I was gonna finish it today. No way, I underestimated this project. See you tomorrow. So now this is the new bumper that I got painted in the correct color already, together with the hood and the side skirt, which is somewhere there. The front bumper, I got a full M Sport, but the problem is I forgot to make the holes for the parking sensors before I send it in for repaint. To make the holes for the parking sensors, technically you need a special tool, which from BMW, which is like you drill a little hole, then it's like a punch and you punch out the hole, but I don't have that, of course. So other way you can do this is using a step drill. So firstly you drill a little hole from the back in the correct spot, like that. That's good. And then I just use the drill and round up the hole from the back to make it more nicer. Then we can see that the sensor fits pretty damn good in the bumper. I already drilled all the other holes As you can see, there's 4 little tabs, each place where the sensors are. So this bumper actually is not original BMW. This is the Chinese part, Chinese bumper. And there is markings for the parking sensors, so you can make the holes yourself. Then I removed the old parking sensor holder from the old bumper, and I glue it on using super glue. And I put some super glue. So then you need to line it up good, perfectly center. So I guess firstly the grills. Now we will actually put in the fog lights. Okay, now the fog light is stable, and now we can put in there you go, the front bumper is assembled. Okay. Okay, that's the left light, and this is the good one as well. That's the bad light. Look at the design. So it's made like that, so it's gonna crumple if you crash. Just like that. Perfect. And then the temperature sensor. Okay. We can remove the front end, I think, because at least the intercooler is held on this bracket here. And that sits like this, so that's not together with the whole front end thing. The whole rat pack is kind of loose right now. There is some damage here, but that's on the AC radiator, because you barely touch it and it crumbles apart because of the age. Not leaking, so I'm not gonna replace it. So now I also picked up this whole brand new front end. I'm not sure what you call it in English. The rat pack is held in place by these little rubber bolts or plastic bolts. So now you put these little screws through this hole, and it's supposed to sit in there, in that hole. And that is what holds the whole rat pack. Now one problem. It seems that this whole front end is from a car with flaps, like the intake flaps. Should have removed them before we put it in. In this clip, I forgot to turn on my microphone. And now I'm gonna reinstall the main headlights. I think my mic was off in the last clip, but I turned it on and the angel eyes was not working on the other headlight, the old one. So I picked up these LED bulbs. So I was thinking I would use these instead of the yellow ones, but they don't work for nothing almost. There's too much light, but maybe now you can see that this one is on and that's the LED bulb and you can barely see it. So it's original, it is. That looks even, yes. To change the bulb for the angel eyes, you have to actually undo this lower cap. So this sits over it, and in here is the angel eyes. And up here is the normal bulbs. These fog lights were also different, so I had to pick up different bulbs. So I'm just gonna put them in real quick. That looks good. Good. No. I will say that I underestimated this car. Now it's 8 o'clock and 16th November. So we took 2 days to rebuild this car. No, more. It's like 55 hours. We can say 50 hours for YouTube purposes. The car was super dirty, but I still need to do a lot. I just cleaned it quickly, vacuumed it, so I can use it because I need to drive it a bit now. And I will deliver the car in for the inspection after tomorrow. Because this car has like 3 weeks left until it finishes. Now I just need to throw out some garbage. So let's say the challenge is done. 24-hour challenge failed. So 50 hours, let's say. The plates for the car when we bought it, absolutely smashed. I did pick up new plates as well. So now the car has been to the inspection. We got a fair amount of stuff on the paper, but also there's one more problem. The car has vibration when you put it in low RPMs. Drive, give gas, it vibrates like crazy, you let go and it disappears immediately. And it's only on low RPMs. However, on the paper we did get a few other problems, such as brake lines. One more thing, the freaking subframe is rusted, so they found a hole in it. I can deal with subframes, man. What do we need to do now? Well, we need to replace the whole subframe because of rust damage. He managed to make a little hole here. And if he can make a hole with a hammer, that means that the thing's rusted. Everywhere else, it seems okay. Rusted brake line. Then one more rusted brake line here. And then even though I tightened the handbrake on both the right and the left side, still not good enough. So we need to replace probably the handbrake shoes. And we need to check the vibration. I haven't got all the parts for the prop shaft, such as guibos, the bearing. So we'll need to do it when I get the parts, but now let's start removing the subframe. That's gonna be fun, as it always is. This shit is as heavy as always. I forgot to turn on the mic again. Here I picked up a used rear axle and disassembled it, and also I'm just coating it in black anti-rust. Now I am making the brake lines. So here I have one of the old ones. and I bought a roll of copper pipe, and the copper pipe is super easy to bend. It's like very bendable. So you just use your hand and bend it to shape, at least ish. This is what I came to. What I made goes in here, like that. Then it like clips in here. So this side lines up good. So probably cut it around here. Yeah, so now I'm gonna cut. So I have to make it specially bigger on the end so that the nipple can make the perfect seal. That's what I'm gonna do with this one. Then I have this generic brake line tool of the brake line in this holder. You have to make sure that the pipe is sticking out around the same thickness as the outer gap on the little tool bit. You put the tool bit inside the brake line, then you put on this tool and you need to squish it down so it bends it and creates the perfect flare. So you can see this is the flare. Not perfect, but usually you put it on, and if it's leaking, you can give it a little twist, tighten it more, and because it's copper, it's soft, it usually changes shape when you tighten it, and then it creates a perfect seal. Okay, clip it in place. The brake lines. What I want to do now is I want to put in the whole knuckle with the drive shaft on both sides, because I want to connect the brake lines and bleed the brake system to see if anything is leaking, and I need to redo the brake lines because the top one is gonna be, I guess it's annoying to get access to if you have everything together, but yeah. Or actually, since we have to replace the handbrake shoes either way, we will do that first, so we don't need to do multiple jobs for no reason. No way! What? Pads and stuff, they aren't in a super bad condition, but everything is broken. All the pins, well, not everything, just 2 pins that hold it. I opened the thing and they fell straight out. I have a set of handbrake shoes. I need to check if they are the correct ones. They do seem like they are the right type. And the discs are still in a good shape. Here I have some new hardware that I had bought a while ago for some other car, I think. It actually seems like it is the same ones. So then the handbrake shoes. Then put the springs on. Okay. So now the brake shoes are in. Now I had to put this on, but the freaking shield was always touching it, hitting it, and it just rusted away. So I just pulled it off, removed it. I can't wait to get another one, so we'll just assemble it without it. But another thing, the pins for the handbrake shoes, they broke. Couldn't put them in because the hole got completely destroyed because of rust, and the pins, they just hold on 2 tabs, so you push it in and twist it and then it holds, but it's rusted around the hole and the tab just disappeared. So what I did, took normal bolts on each side, put them through, and put a simple washer and a nut on the back. I know that's maybe not a very professional way to do it. Best way would be to order brand new covers, shields, stuff like that, but you can't buy them from normal stores. You need to buy them from original BMW store, and that's gonna take forever. That's gonna take a few weeks, and I don't want to wait that. So now they have suspension on the spring, but they sit tight, so I have no doubt that this is gonna work fine. So now we can finally put the disc, I hope, for the last time. The way I adjust my handbrakes, tighten it until it's fully locked and go back 1 or maybe 2 clicks so it's dragging. Then the caliper bracket. Good. Caliper. Or actually I need to connect the brake line first. Now the caliper. Lube up the guide pins. Before we bleed the brakes, I will repeat the same stuff on the other side. Pump. Now I also need to reinstall a new sway bar link, because when you put the new subframe on, I forgot to put in the whole sway bar link, so that was super annoying to put it on, because it goes up and behind the subframe, so I had to lower it again a little bit. Yeah, that was annoying. But now this is the sway bar link. So that is in. At this point, the rear subframe is good, everything is in place, and now it's time to put in the prop shaft. But the problem is, there was a lot of vibration, only when accelerating. And I'm not quite sure about the reason for that. It did feel like it's from under the car. It really felt like the prop shaft. This seems weird. Here it seems like the shield was touching it, but the balancing weight is still here, so I'm not sure if this would cause the imbalance and the vibration. The bearing, a bit play, but I'm not sure if this would cause it. Also the guibos, a lot of cracks in it, but nothing major as well. We will replace both of these rubber things and also the bearing in the middle. I have never done this before, but there is a spline shaft which goes here and inside the prop shaft on this side, so it slides in. So we need to somehow hit it against the ledge here to push it off. Right before you remove, also make sure to mark with the marker the position, because the whole prop shaft is balanced. Then the thing is, you have to find a cup or something that fits only on the inner bearing race, so you can push it down or hammer it on without damaging the bearing. I have this universal bushing tool, and I found a cup like this that is close enough. Then I'm putting on a bit of grease. This goes on like that. Then you hammer it on until the sound changes and it becomes a high-pitched sound. Now, no play in the bearing. And you have to line up. So then you need to line up the markings that you made. Now we can replace the flex disc. So there are the arrows, so you have to point the correct way. If the arrow is showing this way, point it towards the prop shaft, and the arrow is going this way. This is the screw holding it to the gearbox. Put the thing on. So actually the torque for it is 55, and then it's 90 degrees. Okay, when we was doing the clutch, I saw that there was one gearbox mount that it was broken. These little ones, it was just snapped in half. Now these two are the new gearbox mounts that I replaced. This one was literally just broken in half. That's how it's supposed to look. Not sure how. Let's put in the drive shaft. So I'm not sure I'm gonna put the exhaust on yet because I wanna make sure it's not vibrating, so we don't need to take off the prop shaft any more times. Another reason why the car did not pass is because you could smell the exhaust inside the car when it's standing. So then I checked turbo and I saw that a spot around this clamp was black. So I removed it and the clamp seems okay, not bent anything. I read a bit on forums and I found that there has been people with the same issue, because there is no gasket between the turbo and the DPF from factory. So then they said that it was probably just not on completely the correct way, and then it just couldn't clamp together. So I removed it. I'm gonna clean it up, clean up the surfaces on the DPF and the turbo, and I'll try to put it back and see if it continues leaking. Let's see if it drives without vibration. So the vibration is completely gone. So it was in fact either the Quibos, middle bearing on the prop shaft, or the gearbox mount, one of these three. So good. Yeah. Previously we did replace the brake pads. I was hoping the discs would be good, but after driving it a bit, it is vibrating like crazy. First let's see if they seem the same size. I think so. I am not a madman, so we're not gonna replace the pads again. These ones have literally not driven even 100 kilometers. Then we will just hang it up on the spring. One little smack. That literally didn't take more than like 10 minutes. When you guys see me doing this, going full on ooga dooga on the lug nuts and other bolts with this thing, I don't go on it full power. So it has these different settings. So I know that on the second setting, it never tightens more than like 130 Newton meters, stuff like that. I do recheck my lug nuts after. Don't go full ooga dooga on lug nuts if you don't know how powerful your tool is. Now I'll go and replace the other side real quick. Pretty wet today, but we are back now and the car passed with no faults, so that is good. Norwegian weather is different. One day it's raining, one day it's snowing. So now this car is driving pretty good, stable. So I can feel that this car is also tuned because it's way more powerful than original. So then it's gonna be it on the videos on this car. I will not make any more videos. I don't want to make multiple parts because usually the second part becomes boring. The other E91 that we did previously, I have to make a part 2 and that's like not as good as the part 1, so I'm not a big fan, especially on smaller projects like these. So we paid 8,000 crowns for this car and it ended up costing a lot, including buying it, all the registration taxes, new hood, bumper, painting, shipping, all the parts. it ended up costing like almost 40,000 krones, which is like 3,500 euros total cost with buying it, fixing it. So it's not an awful price for a facelift E91. This video I think is probably the longest on the channel, and we did do a lot of work on it. I still need to do some work off camera. I need to replace the washer fluid level sensor, which I have ordered. There's a fault on the iDrive. Then I need to get the wheels balanced. There's a slight vibration. And I probably need to do something with the wheels, paint them or something like that. When the car was in for the inspection, they did adjust the headlights and the fog lights because there was a fault for both of it that they were wrongly adjusted. So now they are adjusted correctly. Yeah, I also still haven't put on the little covers here. There is some trim pieces because you can't adjust the fog lights with the trim pieces on. So I will put them on. Handbrake also working flawlessly. The interior is actually still a bit dirty, so I will need to wash it good, but that's anyway, it's not important. I will need to do it off camera. Windscreen came out perfect, I could say. A bit of sealant came out on the other side, on the inside, but I think I can trim it off and it's gonna be almost not visible. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. Probably sell it after it's fully done because I don't need another car. I know we have a lot of E-Series cars and it's probably getting boring, so I need to change the cars and I'm trying to. I will try to not do as much E-Series because we have did a lot of it. I'll only buy them if they have a engine that we haven't had on the channel, or there's something different, new repairs, stuff like that, because we can't keep doing the same cars over and over again. It's just not interesting. And talking about different cars, this is the next project, F30. Of course broken, so video on that soon. Incredibly nice example, because I have gotten a few comments that they want me to do F-Series cars. Next video on that thing. So thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you in the next one.